2,500 years ago, amid the smoke and fire of China's spring and autumn period, someone wrote a small book of barely 6,000 characters. That little book would later be translated into dozens of languages, listed as required reading at military academies worldwide, cherished as a desk classic by countless business leaders, and even influenced Napoleon and Douglas MacArthur, figures who changed the course of history. That book is The Art of War. Its author was Sun Wu, a native of Qi who later served King Helu of Wu, helping a small, weak state rise suddenly amid the chaos of warring feudal lords. The treatise he left behind has crossed 2,500 years, and to this day still radiates a wisdom that astonishes. Today, we're going to truly understand this classic, not by translating it line by line, but by getting to the heart of its core ideas, so that when you finish listening, you can apply this wisdom to your own work and life. Let's start with one question: what is the essence of war? Many people would say war is two armies facing off. Whoever has more troops and better generals wins, whoever has better weapons wins, whoever fights with greater courage wins. Sun Wu did not see it that way. In his opening lines he says something that sets the tone for the entire book: war is a matter of vital importance to the state, a matter of life and death, a road either to survival or to ruin. It must be thoroughly studied. War is the greatest affair of a nation. It concerns the lives and deaths of countless people and the survival or destruction of the state. It must never be treated lightly. Behind this sentence lies a deeper meaning. Since war is so bound up with life and death, before you go to war you must think with extreme care about whether you truly have a chance of winning. Sun Wu identified 5 fundamental factors that decide victory or defeat in war. The first is Tao, the moral alignment of the people, whether the common folk are willing to follow their ruler into battle. The second is Heaven, the timing, meaning seasons, weather, and natural conditions. The third is Earth, terrain, and how the landscape shapes the fight. The fourth is the general, the commander's ability, whether he combines wisdom and courage and rewards and punishments fairly. The fifth is method, the army's organization, discipline, and logistics. He said that before going to war, you should compare these 5 dimensions with your enemy one by one. Whose Tao is stronger? Whose general is more capable? Whose system is more sound? If you come out ahead in the overall comparison across all 5, you have a chance of victory. If you do not, then do not fight or wait until conditions are ripe. Before fighting, calculate clearly. Never fight unprepared. Never fight without confidence. Apply today. Before any major decision we make, we should analyze and assess thoroughly, rather than act on impulse. Having covered preparation for war, Sun Wu immediately turns to another key issue: the cost of war. He said war is enormously costly in money and manpower. Once fighting begins, daily military expenditure becomes astronomical. If the campaign drags on, the army grows weary, its sharp edge dulls, sieges fail, and the state's finances are exhausted. So he offered a famous principle: in war, prize victory, not prolonged operations. In battle, what matters is swift, decisive action, not a war of attrition. This is not to say you can never fight a long war, but you must clearly recognize the price of a prolonged campaign and do everything possible to resolve the problem in the shortest time. The highest goal of war is not to destroy the enemy, but to achieve your strategic aim while keeping your own losses as low as possible. To win 100 battles is not the acme of skill. To subdue the enemy without fighting is the acme of skill. Winning 100 battles is not the highest level. Making the enemy surrender without fighting, that is the highest level. Because every war, whether you win or lose, carries a price. Even when you destroy the enemy, you lose soldiers, consume supplies, and wreck cities. But if through strategy, diplomacy, and economic pressure you can convince the other side that resistance is pointless and they give up on their own, you achieve the greatest goal at the smallest cost. This is the doctrine of total victory. Sun Wu said the best strategy is to attack the enemy's plans to defeat the opponent at the level of strategy. Next is to attack their alliances, using diplomacy to break up enemy coalitions. After that comes attacking their army in direct battle. The worst option is attacking walled cities, forcing a siege against strong fortifications. Siege warfare ranks lowest because the cost is too high. To besiege a city, you need at least 3 months to prepare siege engines, then another 3 months of hard assault with heavy casualties. Often the city is ruined by the time you take it, and the gains do not justify the losses. In competition, destroying the opponent is not the goal, achieving your own objective is. If wisdom can replace confrontation and cooperation can replace pure rivalry, the outcome is often better. Sun Wu next introduces a crucial pair of concepts, called Xing and Shi. What is Xing? Xing is objective, tangible strength, your troop numbers, equipment, terrain, logistics, a hard power you can see and touch. What is Shi? Shi is the force you create by deploying and directing that strength, turning raw capacity into combat power. Sun Wu used a metaphor. Place a stone on flat ground and it does not move. Place the same stone on a steep slope and it rolls faster and faster, unstoppable. That is the power of Shi. A good commander needs not only strong Xing, but the skill to create and exploit Shi, to make his army rush at the enemy like a rolling boulder, with irresistible momentum. And the key to creating Shi lies in the interplay of Zheng and Qi. Engage with the orthodox, win with the unorthodox. Zheng is the main force deployed in conventional formation, holding the line and meeting the enemy head-on. Qi is the surprise strike force, breaking stalemates and winning through the unexpected. The shifting combinations of Zheng and Qi are like the cycles of heaven and earth, like rivers that never cease, endless. Skilled commanders constantly vary Zheng and Qi, leaving the enemy confused, unable to find a pattern, unsure of your true intent or main axis of attack. This reminds me of a modern business example. When Apple launched the first iPhone, everyone thought they were making a phone, but in truth they were appending the entire consumer electronics industry. That is Zheng and Qi in action. On the surface, a phone; in reality, a redefinition of how people relate to information. Next we turn to one of the most famous chapters in the art of war, emptiness and fullness. He who arrives first at the field of battle and waits at ease will be fresh, he who arrives late and rushes into battle will be exhausted. Whoever reaches the battlefield first and rests gains the advantage, whoever arrives late and fights in haste is at a disadvantage. You must seize the initiative, make the opponent follow you, not let the opponent lead you by the nose. Sun Wu offers a profound method: I concentrate while the enemy divides. I mass my strength while the enemy's strength is scattered. If I have 10,000 men and the enemy has 10,000, and I concentrate all my force at one point while the enemy spreads his across 10, then at that point I have a 10-to-1 advantage. Use 10 to strike 1, though overall we are evenly matched, on that local battlefield I have overwhelming superiority. When resources are limited, concentrate superior force for annihilation, not spread resources thin for a war of attrition. To achieve I concentrate while the enemy divides, the key is to keep the enemy from knowing where you will strike. You must make the enemy show his form while I remain formless, expose the opponent's strengths and weaknesses while keeping your own deployments completely opaque. Sun Wu said, command troops like water. Water avoids the high and flows toward the low. In war, avoid the strong and strike the weak. Water has no fixed shape, it takes the shape of whatever vessel holds it. War has no fixed pattern, it must change as the enemy changes. This is what Sun Wu meant by, there are no constant conditions in war, just as there are no constant shapes in water. Those who can adapt on the fly and adjust strategy as the enemy situation shifts are the true masters of war. Let's talk about Sun Tzu's theory of knowledge. He has a line almost everyone has heard: if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, For every victory you will suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. Know the other side and know yourself, and you will not be defeated. Know only yourself, not the enemy, and wins and losses will balance. Know neither, and every battle ends in disaster. Easy to say, hard to do. True knowledge is not surface understanding, it is deep insight. You must know not only how many troops the enemy has, but the character, habits, and weaknesses of their commander. Not only the terrain of the battlefield, but how to play to your strengths and sidestep your weaknesses. Not only the present situation, but where it is heading. To gain this deep knowledge, Sun Wu devoted a chapter to intelligence work, the use of spies. He classified 5 types. Local spies, ordinary people inside enemy territory. Inside spies, enemy officials you have turned. Reverse spies, enemy agents you recruit to serve you. Dead spies, agents who spread false intelligence so the enemy acts on bad information. Living spies, agents who penetrate deep into enemy territory, gather intelligence, and return alive to report. Used together, these 5 types of spies are impossible for the enemy to detect. They are a ruler's most precious asset and the key to victory. Wise rulers win before others even move because they have already gathered sufficient intelligence. That intelligence cannot come from spirits or omens, it must come from people who truly understand the enemy. This emphasis on intelligence was remarkably ahead of its time. To this day, intelligence work remains central to strategic competition among major powers. Market research, competitor analysis, and customer insight in business are essentially the same thing. Next, an easily overlooked topic: terrain and the choice of battlefield. Sun Wu divided terrain into 6 basic types: open, suspended, contentious, narrow, precipitous, and distant, each with its own principles of deployment. Sun Wu extended the concept of terrain into the 9 grounds, 9 strategic situations from dispersive ground to deadly ground, describing the psychology of an army in different strategic positions and how to respond. The most famous is the use of deadly ground. Sun Wu said, when trapped in deadly ground, fight with everything you have. Place an army in a position with no retreat, and soldiers will unleash combat power beyond the ordinary. This is the famous idea of putting oneself in a position where there is no choice but to live. Xian Yu smashing the cooking pots, Han Xian fighting with his back to the water, both applied this principle. Sometimes forcing yourself into a corner can summon your strongest fighting spirit. Sun Wu is not saying you should seek out deadly ground on purpose, but when you are unluckily trapped there, do not panic. Use that extreme situation and turn the soldier's instinct to survive into combat power. Sun Wu believed a commander must possess 5 qualities: wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. Wisdom is strategy. Sincerity is integrity and keeping promises of reward in punishment. Benevolence is caring for the troops. Courage is fearlessness in battle. Strictness is rigorous discipline. All 5 are indispensable. Yet each, taken too far, becomes a weakness. Too brave without strategy leads to reckless death. Too benevolent without strict discipline leads to spoiling the troops. Too cautious and afraid of disgrace makes you easy to provoke. Too attached to reputation lets the enemy manipulate you with humiliation. Too protective of civilians lets the enemy use threats against the people to tie your hands. These 5 weaknesses are a commander's fatal flaws and a disaster for any army. Sun Wu said, when the general is in the field, he may ignore commands from the sovereign. Battlefield conditions change in an instant. A commander must have the authority to judge independently and decide decisively, not wait for orders from the rear on every matter. A commander must also understand, invincibility lies in oneself, the opportunity for victory lies in the enemy. Whether you can avoid defeat depends on your own preparation.
Whether you can defeat the enemy depends on whether they expose a weakness.
Skilled commanders first make themselves invincible, then wait for the moment when the enemy can be defeated.
First make yourself invincible, then wait for the enemy's moment of vulnerability. Getting yourself right is within your control. When the opponent makes a mistake is not.
So keep improving until you are always in an unassailable position, then wait patiently for them to slip, and when they do, strike once and end it. Do not pour all your energy into studying how to beat the competition. Put most of it into making your product the best it can be, building the strongest team you can, and delivering the most polished service you can. When you truly become the best in your field, competitors naturally fall behind. Sun Wu said, "All warfare is based on deception. War is an art of stratagem. When able to attack, appear unable. When about to move, appear inactive. When near, make the enemy believe you are far. When far, make him believe you are near. Lure him with small gains. Strike when he is in disorder. If he is arrogant, provoke him. If he is at ease, wear him down." Many people ask, isn't this teaching people to scheme and deceive? Doesn't that contradict honesty in modern business? Here we need to clear up a common misunderstanding. What Sun Wu calls deception is tactical misdirection in war aimed at preserving your soldiers, reducing casualties, and ending conflict faster.
In life or death confrontation, misleading the enemy is entirely legitimate. But that does not mean you should deceive in everyday business.
The wisdom of the art of war must be applied to context.
In equal partnerships, integrity is the foundation. In fierce competition, keeping your strategic intent opaque is legitimate.
In negotiations, do not show your hand too early. In competition, do not reveal new product launch plans ahead of time. In positioning, keep the opponent guessing about your true intentions. Sun Wu's understanding of victory is among the most philosophically deep parts of the art of war. He said the victories of skilled fighters look unremarkable. When they win, people often take it for granted because they prepared thoroughly and the situation already favored them. People do not marvel at them, because their victory involved no dramatic reversal and no dazzling stroke of genius. By contrast, commanders who pull off stunning reversals from extreme disadvantage are often hailed as heroes and written into history. In Sun Wu's view, that actually shows they failed in strategic layout and had to gamble everything. True masters decide victory before the war even begins. The skilled fighter puts himself in a position which makes defeat impossible and does not miss the moment for defeating the enemy. They win battles that are easy to win, acting only when victory is already assured. That kind of effortless victory is the highest level. This reminds me of Warren Buffett in investing. He never chases get-rich-quick speculation. He looks for companies with simple business models, durable competitive advantages, and honest, capable management, then buys at a reasonable price and holds for the long term. His investing looks plain, yet over decades it has produced unmatched compound returns. That is the modern version of winning easy battles. The art of war is not a tactical manual, it is a complete system of strategic thinking. First, before war, judge whether you have a real chance of winning. Second, achieve your goal at the lowest cost and highest speed, ideally without fighting at all. Third, seize the initiative and concentrate force against weak points. Fourth, gather intelligence continuously and know both yourself and the enemy. Fifth, cultivate wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness in leadership and adapt flexibly to circumstances. This logic applies in any competitive arena today: corporate rivalry or personal growth, office politics, or human relationships. The art of war has something to offer. In business competition, research thoroughly before entering a new market. Find competitors' weak points and concentrate resources to build advantage. Do not slug it out head-on with a much stronger rival. Find the niche segments they have not covered, establish a foothold, then expand step by step. In personal growth, first make yourself invincible, master core skills until you are irreplaceable at work. Wait patiently for opportunity, then give it everything when it arrives. Do not let outside judgment and pressure steer your decisions. Hold your own rhythm and do what is right for the long term. In relationships, understand the other person's needs, personality, and concerns, and you will find communication that actually works. In important negotiations and decisions, stay calm and rational. Do not let the other side provoke or tempt you with emotion. Know when to hold firm, when to compromise, and when to retreat temporarily for a better move later. Of course, the art of war has its limits. In a modern business ecosystem that emphasizes cooperation and mutual benefit, we cannot reduce every relationship to war. But as a thinking tool, it remains priceless. Before any major decision, analyze and prepare thoroughly. Concentrate superior resources rather than spreading effort thin. Take the initiative rather than reacting passively. Pursue the most efficient victory, not brute force slugfests. Keep learning and adjusting rather than clinging to one fixed strategy forever. Finally, let me share a story about the art of war. After King Helu of Wu read Sun Wu's treatise, he wanted to test whether Sun Wu could really command. Half joking, he said, "Your book is excellent, but can you demonstrate it using the women of my palace?" Sun Wu agreed. He divided the palace women into two companies, appointed the king's two favorite concubines as company commanders, and began drilling them. At first the women treated military orders as a joke, they laughed and refused to obey. Sun Wu restated the rules and gave the order again. They still giggled. Then Sun Wu declared, the commanders had failed in their duty, off with their heads. The king was alarmed and sent word asking him to spare them. Sun Wu replied, when the general is in the field, he may ignore commands from the sovereign. Since I have been appointed commander, discipline must be enforced. He then ordered both concubines executed. When drilling resumed, every woman moved in perfect unison, advancing and retreating in order, no one daring to laugh. The king was grieved, yet had to admit, Sun Wu truly knew how to command an army. After that, Wu conquered Chu and awed the feudal lords, becoming one of the strongest states of the spring and autumn period. Rules and discipline cannot have exceptions. Once you make an exception, authority collapses and the organization falls into chaos. The Art of War, barely 6,000 characters, captures the wisdom of war and the wisdom of life. For 2,500 years, countless readers have returned to it again and again, finding something new each time. The truly strong are not those who win the most battles, but those who know when to fight and when not to, and how to achieve the greatest aim at the smallest cost. The highest level of strategy is not winning in confrontation, it is having already won before confrontation begins. Knowing yourself, knowing the opponent, and knowing the environment is the foundation of every decision. Without that knowledge, all strategy is a castle in the air. Change is eternal. There is no one-size-fits-all playbook, only the wisdom to adapt to reality as it unfolds. Do what you can do today. Make yourself invincible. Then wait patiently for opportunity, that is the path to success that endures across time. This is The Art of War, a book written 2,500 years ago that still illuminates the present. I hope today's journey has given you a fresh view of it, and I hope these ancient insights can offer real help in your life and work.